It is now time for What If, covered by State Farm. And this week, we're going to keep it super short and sweet. Obviously, we saw UNC in the title game last season. So the question here, Sam, what if UNC doesn't even make it to the tournament?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the University of North Carolina basketball program obviously is one of the best sports programs across all of college sports. They are not going anywhere, and neither is Hubert Davis, by the way. The allure for recruits to play in powder blue, I don't think, is going away. When you look at the history of this program, 6 national titles, 21 Final Fours. That's a record. This is the only program, the only school to have reached 9 NCAA tournament Final Fours in each of the last decades. I mean, it's really impressive what North Carolina has done. Despite the fact that they have underachieved this year, I don't think that the allure, the program, is going anywhere. Just because you have one bad season doesn't mean that all of a sudden, that you just fall off a cliff. And I think Hubert Davis is the right guy to turn it around.
Obviously, they were preseason number 1,
Yep.
right? Do you feel like that was, obviously they've underachieved, but do you think that was more of us as the media or people outside of the program knowing really what's going on inside?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we had Kim McClure on our show last week, and he made a great point that we as the media kind of, I don't want to say propagated, but we definitely had UNC maybe on a higher pedestal than maybe we should have.
Right.
I think that the expectations within the program, rightfully so, were very high. Having said that, I think that our expectations should have been a little bit lower. Just because they returned 4 of the 5 players from that team last year, they did not return Brady Manick. And this is one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the entire country. They ranked 333rd in the country in three-point shooting percentage. And Brady Manick, I think we underestimated at least his value to this team.
Okay, but this is my question, because you mentioned that they returned 4 of the 5 players that were so key for that team that was in the title game last year. What the heck happened? How did they drop off so far?
It's a great question, and I think Hubert Davis has kind of talked a little bit about this. Just because you return 4 of the 5 players from that year last year doesn't necessarily mean that you're returning the same 4 players. And yes, there can be decline at times. I think that this team last year, when you look at the NCAA tournament, they overachieved. And I think that's fair to say. I think a lot of people would say that. Doesn't necessarily mean that they can't do it again this year. This is still a what-if question. What if they miss the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
They still could make the NCAA tournament. They have to win out, though. That's a huge, huge part of this.
Maybe March is just their month. This team thrives in March, so if they do make the postseason, maybe they'll just go all the way to the title game.
You never
again.
know.